decided to take the cutoffs from this layout and put them into a shelf. This display is only going to be for engines I'm not using or non layout, just to make sure they stay safe and they don't damage any of their paintwork, because it's really difficult to color match the paintwork. And down there I'm gonna put all of my extra Bachmann Easy Track to make sure all of my rolling stock and everything I've painted and everything that's not in use and that's not on the layout is staying safe, because the paintwork on this stuff is so hard to fix when you mess it up. Trust me, I know. For the display, I'm going to be ballasting and maybe putting down grass. I don't know. Eventually, if I decide to, I kind of want to cut the tracks and put in some diodes and put in a shuttle circuit board, so the engine would go backwards, stop right after the diode, and then go forward and stop at the diode. And so from up here, the engine would just be running back and forth. But I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna keep it the way it is, just to have multiple engines displayed. I don't know. If y'all could leave a comment and help me make the decision, that would be great. But for this video, I'm gonna be showing y'all how to ballast G-scale track. Just a note, this works on any G-scale tracks that is pre-made with sleepers, like LGB, Pico, and of course Bachmann Easy Track, which
we all know sucks, but we're not.
For ballasting between the sleepers, you just want to take your whatever you're using to dump ballast onto your track and just kind of slowly pour it in between the sleepers. Don't worry if it clumps up. I'll show you in a second how to fix that. But you kind of want it to you know, just get a little bit, make it uneven. That way, so piles were like here where it's really low, you can take a paintbrush, or I used to use a foam paintbrush. I guess that's what you call it. Just take it and lightly push it out, because if you do it too much, you're gonna get something like this. You can like dump it all out and make a mess. But you want to like slowly and just gently nudge it into its little home. Oh my god. You just want to lightly brush the ballast in between the sleepers, because if you do too much, you're gonna get something like this, where like it gets scooped out and just does not look good at all. This is what happened with me on my first going around with the ballast. But a lot of this is just trial and error, and the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. But you really want to make sure you can see the sleepers, and if you're really up for it, you can paint the sleepers before you put the ballast down on the track, to a point where the ballast in between the sleepers, but you still got some on the sleepers like this. An easy trick that I use, I just go the track, and I just drop my paintbrush and slap the track multiple times, just making sure it's really nice and even, so all the ballast off your sleepers. Of course, you, in little spaces like this, you want some on your sleepers, but it's just to make it look more realistic, I guess. But from here, I'm gonna do a time lapse of me doing the rest of the ballast. Next, what you're gonna want to do, you're gonna want to take your cup of ballast and just great. Next, what you're gonna want to do the sides of the sleepers is just take your cup and lightly tap the ballast along the sleepers. That way, so you can take your paintbrush and just lightly. It's a lot like doing HO track, and just fluff it and make it look really nice. And again, for the sleepers, just get it off of there and make sure it's level. The ends of the ballast is level with the sleepers, or a little bit below, so it looks realistic. And then just lightly brush and clean up afterwards, so it looks just like that. And it'll look a little bit better. I'll clean it up a little bit more, but time outside. Now for gluing down the ballast, what you're going to want to do is grab any sort of spray bottle, preferably one that actually missed the glue. I've worked with the ones that just like old Windex bottles that have just like sprayed it and like in a stream. And it's hard to work with. I've also worked with like the electric roundup like squirting things, so you can like squirt like down into it and like just keep. That one's really good if you're like doing like a large amount of ballast at one time, or like over there inside the tunnel. I use it in there to get all the way back and get all the ballast on the inside of the tunnel, everything in there. But for this will just work just fine. I've also used, is it out right now? I don't think it's out. I've also used a syringe plunger. I don't know where mine is, but I'm sure y'all know what I'm talking about. What you're gonna want to use is, let me get the materials. Make the glue is, for spray bottles that missed, you're gonna want to make it 1 part glue and then 3 parts, water. And then with this, just add the slightest little drizzle. That's like too much. Like if you add too much, it's gonna start bubbling up a lot inside here and it's gonna be harder to shake it out. And you're just gonna wanna really, really shake it up, because you're gonna wanna make sure it's like working. And then I'll just, not again. There you go. Oh wait, oh, guess this one's broken now, so now it's squaring like this. But, okay, back to the layout. Once you're up here, what you want to do for a nice track like the LGB track, and this is what I did for that track, you're gonna want to take masking tape and make sure it's all gonna do all on the track. Make sure nothing gets on the top of it. Or for this, if you're going to use steel track as a normal track, you're gonna wanna make sure you get nothing on the rails, because it will rust. Trust me, I bought brand new LGB or Bachmann big haulers points, and they immediately started rusting, and I had these on my layout for about, I want to say 3 months, and then I ripped it all out and put it in all this. And so the technique I usually go for is just kind of doing this at first, trying to make sure everything just really, really glued down, and then you're gonna want to really like soak it. Make sure the ballast is like really soaked in there, because if you don't, the ballast will like get brittle. And over here, actually I did it, will get really brittle and wanna, no, that's not the part. The ballast will get really brittle and just kind of flop away over time. I need to go back over it and respray it, but you gotta make sure you're really, really soaking, make sure it's hard. The ballast I'm using is just cheap kitty litter. So this stuff absorbs it and really holds itself together. But I don't think normal ballast will do this. So just be careful with what you buy. Don't buy extremely expensive stuff, because that stuff is professionally grade, designed to be used with their own glue. I've heard a lot of bad things about using G-Skill ballast, and like G-Skill professionally made ballast and actually design. How do I put this? Oh, using this kind of glue, and it just kind of breaks away worse than that. So like anytime a train went over it, it kind of like, it would like break away. Why can I not think of that? It just kind of break away. But I'm gonna come back to the time lapse after I'm done soaking this, and see you in a hot second.
Position. Now, when played back simultaneously on two separate systems, the sounds are blended together to achieve a new dimension in sound, impossible to obtain in a monaural recording.
After that's done, all you gotta do is just let it dry, and it should look like this, all hard and doesn't peel away. And what's nice about it is also works as sound deadening for the track, and it also helps keep the track mounted down. Thank you for watching. See you next video.
Missing someone.